and welcome to Framed
Canvas, cuffs, and
other stuffs. This podcast is about crime.
And art.
And our crime.
Wake up. Pay attention.
We've got art.
And it's juicy.
Hello, Joel.
Hello. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
My heart's on fire. Elvira.
Jolie.
Look at us in our little denims.
I know.
love
We're very
it.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
How have you been, Joel?
Oh, great. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute for the
10 to be exact, because we just filmed before this. And we're doubling up
down.
today. Yeah.
So apologies
We're
if
double
this,
fisting.
apologies if this goes awry.
Nah,
And we
it'll
get
be
the
fine.
sillies.
It'll be fine.
So, Joel, what are you going to recommend this week?
Okay, first of all, you know how there are all those places popping up in the last maybe 2 years that are places where you go to paint and you can have like wine and stuff?
Yeah.
It's called like sip and paint.
Sipsies.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, work Christmas party kind of vibe,
Yeah.
or you're out with girlfriends, or it's like a hens or something like that, and you all like paint a picture of a cactus and just get like really
Lit.
drunk.
Yeah.
They've been popping up everywhere, but also on Chapel Street in Melbourne. I was driving the other day and I walked past. I drove past one called Drink and Ink.
Oh.
And it's a tattoo place that you drink at
Yep.
and you learn how to tattoo.
Oh, you're not tattooing while you're drunk.
No, but you are, but it's on fake skin, like synthetic skin.
Oh.
They give you like a sheet of, from what I understand, because I looked this up.
Yeah.
And I can't tell if it'll be, we won't tag them because I can't tell if it'll be corny and lame or if it'll actually be good.
Good.
But you get this synthetic skin with these designs kind of underneath it, and you can see through the synthetic skin, and they give you a tattoo gun and you go, drrr, and you can
That would be cool.
do it whilst having a vino.
Just all of a sudden you're like, drawing on your hand.
Don't draw on yourselves. I think I want something right here.
Yeah. I'm just going to get a cheap tattoo. That's cool.
I think that would be a fun idea to do.
I think so.
And I think I want to jump on this soon and get like a group of us to go, like a small group, because it also could be one of those places that might not be around for very long.
It'll either be
Depending
there
on
for like the next 10 years or the next 2 months.
Yeah, it could kind of go either way with that kind of thing because it's very niche. It's a very niche thing. You go to those ones, and shout out to anyone who's been to one.
A little paint zip.
Yeah, and you like paint a sunset or a cactus or whatever.
Or a starry night.
And then especially if you live with housemates, you take it home and then all of a sudden your house is adorned with cactus paintings.
art.
And,
7.
and you're kind of like, but the person who painted it is really proud of it.
Yeah,
So you
so
have
you've
to
got-
be like,
Oh, I love this.
Yeah. Also, jumping into that same realm,
Yeah.
boyfriend / drag queen of the pod, Tilly Capulet.
Hello, Tilly.
And her drag sister, Silk, have started doing a drag and draw.
Oh.
And now this is in fit for all the Melbourne heads again. I know, I'm sorry. We stick to Melbourne. We
what can
we
you
don't
do?
get out much. It's at Avalon Bar in Fitzroy, and it's the last Tuesday of every month.
Cute.
Silk and Tilly will be there. They're on stage. Everyone gets a canvas, drawing utensils, drawing equipment,
Utensils. We're in the kitchen.
drawing equipment and whatnot. They do a series of poses, have a bit of banter with the audience.
Cute. I love this.
And then you draw the queens.
Oh, I need
Bit
to
of
go.
fun.
Bit of fun and a bit of drag.
Yes. It's just something different, you know?
Yeah.
You don't always just want to go to the bar and just sit around and chat. Sometimes you need something to do.
I love this.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking for something to do, they're doing it for as long as they can.
Yeah, I love this.
And I also did the poster art for it. So that was a little arty thing that I did.
Cute.
Yeah.
I love it.
Drag and draw.
Drag and draw.
Oh, it's called Art Club. But it is drag and draw. It's called Art Club with a K. I did the logo in the style of Art Attack, which was a 90s.
Yes.
A 90s art show. Yeah.
Which I rewatched some of like the clips on YouTube and I was like, this is wild.
Yeah.
He's so talented.
Yeah.
And I also didn't realize it was in different languages as well.
Had no idea.
Yeah, we would have seen the British one, but there were like Spanish versions.
Was it British? I thought it was an Australian show.
No, it's British.
Oh, I can't remember. I was so young.
We were so young and
Did that make any sense?
That
Am I
made
making any
perfect
sense?
sense.
Okay, good.
we're just singular tear. I love this.
Yeah.
Drag and draw.
Drag and draw. Art club. Go draw some drag queens. Or go drink and learn to tattoo.
Tattoo yourself.
I've always wanted to be a tattoo artist.
Yeah, it would be tough.
It's so much pressure.
Yeah. And you know that tattoo show, what's that? Ink Masters.
Yes.
And sometimes
some terrible things come out of that show.
Oh, yeah. And like some amazing things. They're also all very talented, but when you're not doing your style or what you want to do, like child portraits.
Ooh, they can always go bad. Too much shading, they look like an 80-year-old person.
Yeah, and all of a sudden their teeth are like stark white.
Yeah.
Like, why has that kid got veneers?
Do you think if someone fucks up a tattoo on that show, the show then pays for them to get the tattoo removed?
No. They're signing waivers to do all that.
Yeah.
Also, you could not, like, I would not in a million years say, I will get a tattoo for free. You can do whatever you want on my body.
No.
Happy for it.
No.
No
absolutely
way.
not.
Like, sorry, you put yourself in that situation.
100%.
And some of them, boy.
Some of the human canvases are like nightmares to deal with.
And also they're like, I've never had a tattoo before. I'd like it across my neck and skull.
And they're like, it hurts. It's like,
shit.
What about you? What's art?
What's art? You? Not necessarily art, but I am recommending a TV show. It's on Disney Plus.
Ooh.
It is called Death and Other Details.
Ew.
It's very Glass Onion, very like Only Murders in the Building if it was a bit sexier.
Okay.
It's set in present day, but the ship that they are on, where all of this murder, it's on a ship, is set, like is a 1950s ship. So it feels old, but it is new. And it's got twists and turns and like there's a guy narrating it and he's really like he's like typical detective mustache old guy.
Yeah, like Crusoe or whatever his name is. From...
The story, sometimes you're like, what? But it's a really fun whodunit.
Yeah.
It's really captivating. It's quite a few episodes. It's about this obviously there's a murder on the boat. So there's this two rich families on a boat. Someone gets murdered. Who did the murder? There's all of these different secrets.
My shit. I love it.
It's so good. Now, I'm really on a campaign for everyone to watch this because they did not get a second season. It's only going to be one season. But they left it so it could be a second season, but it didn't do as well in the ratings.
Gotcha.
I want it to come back. So
all right.
Everyone
go on to Disney Plus right now. Pause us.
Actually,
watch the entire season.
And then come back.
And then write a letter to Disney Plus.
And say, please. And Russia, if you're out there.
Yeah, we need you.
We need you.
More than ever. Is it kind of like Orient Express, Death on the Nile?
Yeah, but a bit more like frivolous, I would say. A little less like structured, but I got to the end and I was like, what?
Yes.
There's a part where you literally, and go home and watch it, Joel.
Yeah.
And when you get to that part, you'll know exactly the part and you'll just be like, oh my God.
I might watch it tonight while I'm making dinner.
Yeah, it's good, easy watching.
Yes.
Highly recommend, bit of fun, 100% just good times.
What's it called again? Boat murders.
Boat murders and people on the
boat.
It's called Death and Other Details.
Death and Other Details.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go. This week, Joel, we are going so close to home.
Ooh.
We are gonna step into a heist that happened
next door.
literally at the sports centre. We are going to talk about a heist that you may or may not have heard of. It's 1986.
Okay.
We are in Australia. Ooh. Bob Hawke is our Prime Minister.
Oh, yeah. Is he the one who went missing? No.
That's the other one. I'll get a photo up just so we know.
Yeah.
It's not even important to the story, but
no, it's not. I just thought, I was like, is that the one who went missing in the ocean? But not that wasn't him. And they weirdly named like a pool after him.
Yeah. That guy used
I
to
wasn't
drink beers.
born yet. Oh yeah, no, I know him. He said something during the what's that big yacht race?
Oh, yes, when he was drinking beer.
Yeah.
Let's find the
And he was
quote.
just like, any boss who doesn't give you a day off today is like, a bloody Australian.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he did something like that.
He did something like that.
Yeah, he didn't go missing in the ocean.
Who did, though?
Isn't that so weird?
I
don't feel like it gets talked about enough.
We really just went, well, he's gone.
Let's name a pool after him.
Yeah, weird that we did. That's a very Australian thing to do. Name a pool after someone who's drowned. Harold Holt.
Harold Holt. Yes.
He was the 17th Prime Minister of Australia.
Okay,
disappeared
long,
while
long time
swimming
ago.
in the sea near Portsea.
That's a spooky mystery.
Riptide.
Yeah, Vance Joy.
Yeah, I was going to take me down to the riptide. That was just playing in his head.
Yeah. Oh, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Bless up.
What's your name? I've forgotten it already. Harold Holt.
All right.
Oh,
but we're
dear.
not doing that.
No.
1986, Australia. Bob Hawke is our Prime Minister.
Mm-hmm.
The Proclamation of Australian Act was just signed, which AKA we're starting to kind of veer away from being Brits. A dingo had already eaten a baby. We're not doing that.
Oh. Nothing to do with
Nothing
art
to
whatsoever.
do. I mean, we could try and make it fit. You know what? Once we get to
dingo had already eaten a baby.
You know what? When we get to the 100th episode, we'll do it.
Dingoes are obsessed with eating babies.
Currently doing it. Addicted. They cannot get enough.
Yeah.
But Lindsay Chamberlain was getting out of jail in this year. So she'd already been to jail and she was getting out. Mm-hmm. It was also peak 80s Melbourne art scene. It was very bohemian, very like emulated New York. Melbourne did a bit more than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
So very artsy, cultural hub. We're going to be in Melbourne, obviously, and we are going to walk through the doors of the NGV.
The National Gallery of Victoria.
Which
go there all the time.
# get us to the gala.
Yes. Look, we're talking about you.
Look, we're doing a whole episode based on you.
Yes, get us to the gala.
Get us to the gala. This is my campaign. I'm like,
Yes.
I must do an episode on them purely to get an invite. So, Joel, how many times have you been to the NGV, do you think?
Must be in the 30s.
Yeah.
I've been there heaps. And I've lived here for 14 years.
Longer, I reckon. How long? Wait, we would have been, 15. We'll call it 15.
Let's call it a 15.
15.
Yeah, I reckon I've been so many times. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Could not tell you.
If you had to describe what the NGV looked like to the people, what would you say?
It's gigantic, multi-level. On the outside, it's all very square. It's very brutalist. Then you walk in, there's this gorgeous fountain. You walk into this big open space and usually they have a key set piece right dead center in the middle of that space. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you basically go up the escalators. You start at the top, I always recommend, and work your way down. There's cafes in there. It's huge.
It's huge.
Humongous.
It's beautiful.
Heaps of like beautiful like Renaissance art and Jesus-y art and all that kind of stuff.
Jesus. Yeah, there's a lot of art.
And great exhibitions.
Oh, they're doing more and more amazing stuff.
Yeah.
They've
got Pharaoh on at the moment.
Yep. And then they're going to have Yo-Yoy.
Yo-Yoy.
In 1986, the NGV was kind of our beacon to the world that we as a nation had culture and we were trying to show that we could also keep up with the rest of the world when it came to art. Created this artistic hub. However, there was a divide at the time as some people believed this was like a real pinnacle of art. It was all very old school art, whereas the up and coming kind of more art scene and the young kids kind of was like, this is a dusty old institute. They need to support more local art, make sure that they're supporting, artists who are currently living within Australia, modern Australian art, whereas at that time, most of the art that was shown in the NGV was old school European. So at the time, Patrick McKay, he was the director at the NGV and he'd made some pretty big changes since taking over. He was trying to bring a bit more contemporary art to Melbourne.
Yeah.
And little side story fun fact, he was the person in 1984 that brought Keith Haring over to draw on the glass of the NGV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he instigated that. Have you ever seen it?
No. I've seen the mural in Collingwood.
So it was the same time that he did that.
Okay.
So he came over for the NGV. Patrick had set this up because he was trying to obviously bring art, a bit more modern art to the world. So he paid for Keith to come over and draw on the glass of the NGV, that front where the water is.
Yeah.
And he did a full mural there.
But it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say. Oh, cool. I've never seen this.
Yeah. There's also pictures of like Keith on the scissor lift, like cherry picker.
Wow.
So the interesting thing about this was Keith didn't have like, now muralists have big plans. He did this all just eye line by hand.
Yeah.
He doesn't map it out as much. He has an idea and just goes for it.
That was his vibe.
That was his vibes. There is a bit of controversy about this, so I'm going to like do a little side story for this.
Yeah.
So there was speculation that Keith had drawn some phallic things within this mural. I know.
Oh my gosh, shock.
Clutch your pearls. But he didn't. Whenever Keith did graffiti in public, he never put anything inappropriate, because we all know he does like a few, like he's done crackers whack, AIDS, dicks, he does all that. But in public spaces, his graffiti, he never put anything inappropriate because he didn't want children to feel unsafe or not be able to enjoy his work. So anything that was in a public space was never phallic.
He literally, and I think I've said it before, he did artwork for Sesame Street.
Yeah, exactly. So he knew that in order for a lot of people to enjoy his art in a public space, it couldn't be too, controversial.
Yeah.
There was also some discussion if he was appropriating First Nations work within Australia. So there was a conversation, which we all know now that is not true, but people were bringing up that, a lot of his line work, dot work, is that kind of referencing First Nations Australia. But we know that he was doing it before he came to Australia.
Yeah.
But I think some people, because he wouldn't have been like, he was big, but he wasn't as big.
But to like general public and stuff like that, they might not have been as aware of his stuff.
Yeah. So there was like talk around that.
I can see where that comparison might lie.
Yeah. And I think while he was here, he actually really became like enthralled with like First Nations work and was really interested in it and, started to learn about it while he was here.
Yeah.
So also 2 weeks after the mural was created on the glass, it was destroyed and damaged by vandals. I know, but they recreated that piece, I believe, for the 2019 exhibit that was in Melbourne for, I think it was it the Keith?
Him and Basquiat.
Was it? Yeah, him and Basquiat.
Yeah.
So I believe, if I remember,
maybe I have seen it.
I've seen a version
because I went to that exhibition.
I didn't. I got food poisoning and couldn't go the day we were supposed to go.
Oh no!
A very sad day for me.
Dodgy sandwich.
I ate a dodgy sandwich and I was gutted.
No.
Back to our story today.
Yes.
So it's 1985. Old Patrick decided to go shopping for the NGV.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't buy a pair of shoes though. He purchased a $2 million Picasso.
Wow.
You may have seen it when you've walked through the NGV before. It is a green weeping woman.
Mm-hmm.
It was the most an Australian gallery had ever paid for a piece of art.
I think I know which one it is.
Yes.
Do you have a pointy nose?
She does.
Yeah. Side profile, pointy nose, green.
Yeah.
She's wearing a hat?
I think she might. Nope.
She's not. Yeah.
At the time, Australia had never spent that much money on a Picasso or on any piece of work like that. And to spend $2 million, and a lot of people said, on that piece? Really? Like, that was kind of the vibe.
Bit of controversy
Around the piece itself. A lot of people said that Picasso, you could have probably gotten better for $2 million, but nevertheless, he bought it.
I like it.
I know.
It's striking.
I know. And the green, like when you.
I love green.
I love green. Do you love green?
Love it. Love green.
As the story goes, on Saturday, the thieves walked into the gallery in the daylight. Then, just like the guys who stole the Mona Lisa all the way back in episode 1, which is, we've touched on Miss Mona a couple of times now.
Everything goes back to Lisa.
They hid at closing time when everyone else shuffled out of the building. Then they emerge in the dead of night. They unscrew some special bolts that are around the Picasso.
85.
This is 86.
Okay.
So he's bought it in 85, but it's been hanging on the walls for a little while.
Yeah.
So they take the special bolts off the painting And then they take the painting off the wall and they leave a registrar's card on the space that's where the painting hung.
Calling card.
A calling card.
Yeah, cool.
And the painting says, this painting was removed to the ACT. Now,
Australian Capital Territory for
those
playing along at home.
So that is what you'd think. But for the thieves, this is a little joke. And you'll find out what this joke will be in just a moment.
Okay, so it's 86 security.
Oh,
at
you
the
will
NGV?
find there is no fucking security at the NGV in 86.
No alarms, no night watches,
No
no
cameras. No.
We are an easygoing bunch, aren't we?
We really are. We said, come on in.
She'll be right.
She'll be right.
Yeah.
We've just got a $2 million Picasso on the wall. She'll be all right.
Jeez Louise.
So then on Sunday, the gallery opens. As per usual, crowds move past. There's a placard on the wall. The painting's gone. Must be gone it's gone to the ACT. Of course it has. So no one's even realised at this point that it's gone.
Because it looks like there's an official card there that says it's been
removed.
Yeah.
And you'd believe
someone would be like, oh, someone must have authorised that. And no one's
thinking about it.
Uh-huh.
On about Monday morning, the secretary of Patrick walks down and asks one of the conservators who's working, hey, did you take the Picasso off the wall? We don't know where it is. So it was then that they said, we didn't take the Picasso off the wall. What do you mean? And it was then they realised, oh, the Picasso's gone missing.
A few days later.
Yeah, so went missing around a Saturday night and it's about Monday morning now.
Oh my God.
So they've been running around. They opened to the public on the Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
People have seen the missing space, but
wow,
the card really threw them for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a meeting on how to handle this before they go to the public because they've just lost one of the most expensive pieces of art in Australia.
And also one that people were already kind of a bit miffed that they spent all this money on that particular painting and now it's gone missing. So it's like, well, goes all that money down the toilet.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also... it's taken you 2 days to realise that this piece has gone missing. Like, galleries need to stop being so fucking chill about their work.
Honestly.
Like, should we just go and take things off the wall at this point? In 86, we probably could have.
Yeah.
This means that on Monday morning, when they go to the press, Australia is suddenly on the map for art, but for all of the wrong reasons. So within this time, before they go to the press, I believe, there is a letter that is sent to the gallery in regards to this work. So I'm going to read the letter to you, Joel.
Okay.
As we go along in this story, the letters really tell us a bit about who this person is. It was written via a typewriter.
I was going to say, was it by hand? Was it in spooky writing?
No, it was a typewriter. The letter goes as follows. Attention, Rank Matthews. We have stolen the Picasso from the National Gallery as a protest against the niggardly funding of the fine arts in this hick state and against the clumsy, unimaginative stupidity of the administration and distribution of that funding. They're angry.
They are.
2 conditions must be publicly agreed upon if this painting is to be returned. Number 1, the minister must announce a commitment to increasing the funding of the arts by 10% in real terms over the next 3 years and must agree to appoint an independent committee to inquire into the mechanics of the funding of the arts with a view to releasing money from its administration and making it available to artists.
Ooh.
Number 2, the minister must announce a new annual prize for painting open to artists under 30 years of age. 5 prizes of $5,000 are to be awarded. A fund is to be established to ensure the real value of the prizes is maintained each year. The prize is to be called the Picasso Ransom. Because the Minister of the Arts is also Minister of Plod, and I'll explain that in a second, We are allowing him a sporting 7 days in which to try and have us arrested while he deliberates. There will be no negotiation. At the end of the 7 days, if our demands have not been met, the painting will be destroyed and our campaign continues. Your very humble servants, the Australian Cultural Terrorists, which is the ACT.
Not Canberra.
Not Canberra.
And angry art people.
Yeah, very angry art people.
The call is coming from inside the house.
The call is coming from inside the house.
And very interesting reasoning to have it back.
Yeah.
They just want more funding for the arts. They want a prize for emerging artists under 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty radical. They stole a Picasso just to request these things.
100%.
It must have been something that they've been denied.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you know what? If you've got $2 million to spend on this,
why not spend it on the arts that are within Australia?
Yeah.
Fascinating. So at the beginning of the letter, they call the Minister of Arts, that's who they addressed the letter to, Rank Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
His name is actually Race Matthews.
Okay.
So
Race.
Yeah. Strange name.
Yeah.
His name is Race, but they call him Rank, and they continue to call him Rank the entire time through this thing. So they're having a little dig. It's a personal attack on Race Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the Minister of Arts at the time, but he was also the Minister of Police, which is why they mentioned the Minister of
crossover.
A really strange crossover and very odd. The public went wild over this because this painting was, as well, it was uninsured. So I don't know if you remember, Joel, back in whatever episode we talked about, but we talked about a little bit about why sometimes paintings are uninsured. So in the one episode that we talked about, it was because that, and I don't know if the laws are the same here, but public art that belongs to the country or the state can't be insured, whereas private art can because it's an individual.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It also is because for a gallery to insure their collection is far too expensive than like one person loaning one piece.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it would just be so expensive to insure every piece of art in the gallery.
Yeah.
So they just don't do it. We've lost this $2 million painting.
Mm-hmm. She's uninsured. Angry art people. So the NGV calls in the cops, and a detective by the name of Bob Quigley walks in. Oh, Mr. Quigley.
So he walks in, and at the time he'd been working on things like criminals and safe cracking and all that kind of stuff. Never had worked in this art investigation field.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's 86, so that's not completely unheard of. The kind of art crime world it was starting to really pick up, but it was more so overseas than it was
we didn't have
Australia.
much of that going on here.
Exactly. Yeah. In walks Bob, and he has 32 police officers search the NGV from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
They look in air vents. They drain the moat that's around.
Yeah.
Which is so weird because why would it be in a moat? But they do that.
You kind of see it. It's not deep.
No, and like you could throw a coin in and see the bottom. It's not like an actual moat. They even search, like they look behind paintings, like other paintings for the paint.
I mean,
there is footage of this.
Yeah.
And
I'd want them all to be in like fast motion.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, like they're looking up above things. Like, it's very comical. Like, I don't know if it was just for the news report. But, and on the first day of the search, they actually find the frame, and it was hidden in an alcove only 25 meters away from where the painting was hung.
Okay.
So obviously when they took it off the wall, they immediately took it out of the frame because it would be easier to take.
As we know, yes.
As we know. We've seen this before. This is very eerily similar to heists we've seen before. At this point, we know that the thieves removes the painting. No one really knows what to do. We're a bit kind of...
This is all very new to us.
Yeah. We're
what do we do?
We're just like, I guess we could look in the cupboards.
Yeah.
The NGV closes for 3 days. But it is not because of the painting going missing necessarily. It is because the security guards refused to work. Can you guess why the security guards have decided to go on strike?
Are they embarrassed? I don't know.
So they go on strike because the work had been stolen. They decide they need to increase security measures.
Uh-huh.
The chairs that the security people usually sit in are removed.
Okay.
And they now have to patrol the gallery.
So they have to walk around.
Yep.
Oh, God forbid.
They could no longer sit down on the job. So they went on strike.
Classic.
Aussies.
Yeah.
I believe, and I might mention this later, but I believe it is because at the time, a lot of security at the NGV were retired volunteers.
Yes. And also, this hadn't happened before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gone on for years and years and years where they can just sit in the corner of the room, blah, blah, blah. They're probably a bit older.
Yep, they are. They're retired. They're just sitting
Their
there.
hours would be long.
They're just sitting, probably chatting to each other.
Yeah.
They don't.
They don't want to be walking around.
No.
I get it. I'm on strike with them.
Solidarity.
Yeah.
There was no CCTV footage because there was no funding really for the NGV at the time. This was the whole area of arts was very underfunded, and the NGV was very rundown looking, not like it is today.
Right.
Like the carpets rolled. It looked there was no money
Carpets at all.
There was carpets. I know.
Oh.
Like it was a very low funded gallery, even though it was our gallery.
Yeah. I would have loved to have walked around. I want to see what it used to look like.
Yeah, there's some footage and you look at it and you go, oh.
Yeah.
Like there's like fake walls that don't reach the ceiling. It's
because now has to be one of the most beautiful spaces in Melbourne.
And it's only going to get more beautiful because they're making it bigger.
Yes.
There was also a back door from the NGV that led to the VCA, which is the Victorian College of the Arts, which is a school which is next door. It gave direct access to the gallery. So you could literally walk from the school into the gallery, no questions asked.
Angry students.
Angry students.
Angry
maybe.
Teachers.
Angry everyone.
Everyone's mad.
Everyone's mad.
The school.
So it was like so relaxed.
Yeah.
This was one of the most chill galleries going around.
Yeah.
The painting's been stolen. We don't know where it is, but the police are like, we've got to try and work out who's done this and who the Australian cultural terrorists are. Interestingly, it's not like this group existed before this heist. This was the first time that the ACT had ever appeared.
It's a pretty gnarly name.
Oh,
I like it.
I know.
And the fact that it said ACT on their calling card means that like people walking past would be like, oh, it's going to Canberra.
Yeah.
Like it's
They're having a bit of a joke.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, they're being clever. A few days later, a second letter arrives.
So it's been a few days. They've given them 7, so we're kind of halfway through.
This is what the second letter says. Race Matthews, dearest. They love
Having
him.
a laugh.
The department cupboard is quite bare for all of the painters, sculptors, musicians, writers, dancers, poets, and actors who might need support. But you can sorry. I really left out hang on. I'm going to read this second letter in a second.
Okay.
Rewind because there's an important So the police decide at this point to set up a reward and put a reward on the table for anyone who has information on the painting.
Right.
So they offer a $50,000 reward. Ooh. I know. And it's from the government. And it would be rewarded for information of the safe return of the painting and or the conviction of whoever stole it. $50,000 in today's money is about $184,000. So you're going to almost make $200,000.
Yep.
They're kind of struggling to find leads. So they feel like putting this money out there, criminals will start to talk and someone will know something.
Yeah.
Melbourne's big, but it's not that big.
No.
And I imagine Melbourne Underworld, it's big, but it's not that big.
No.
So someone's going to know something if it's a crime syndicate, right? So then the Australian cultural terrorists send a letter And this is what they say because it makes more sense now. So the cupboard is quite bare for all of the painters, sculptors, musicians, writers, dancers, poets and actors who might need support. But you can find a spare 50 grand for the first worthless creep who cares to dob us in. So fair enough.
Fair enough.
They're
and that
angry.
was going to, I was going to mention that when you said the reward. Like they've already bought the painting. They're spending money on the reward when all of this could have been used
to fund.
Like I can see their frustration with everything.
Letter continues, clearly devoted to the cause of art, aren't you? 50 grand to anyone who can help an incompetent political blimp save face. It is self-glorifying retentives like you who are keeping Australia the Ozanam House of Western Art. I do not know what that means.
I'm sure it made a lot more sense back then. Yeah.
We thank the companies that have responded to the need for increased funding for the arts and have done their bit to help embarrass the government. It was an unexpected bonus. So I think a lot of this time you'll find that the NGV started getting more funding and getting things like CCTV footage put in, like because people were like, oh shit, we really need to put some money into this because $2 million can't go missing again. Yeah. Of course, we never looked to have our demands met. If we wanted a positive response from a cultural nematode like you, we would have asked for a new car, a leather lounge suite, or 10 days in Bali. Our intention was always to bring to public attention the plight of a group which lacks any of the legitimate means of blackmailing governments. If we have also drawn attention to your own inadequacy when faced with a situation requiring any show of intelligence or resource, signed the Australian cultural terrorists. Then they go on to say the return of the Picasso will complete the first phase of our campaign. We do hope that television stations feel prompted to have you on the news again. We love that the goth voice you do when you are having a tantrum. It's just like being ticked off by Solomon and statesmen like boarding house blackmanage. We remain at large and your very humble servants, Australian cultural terrorists.
Pow.
Within the letter, they put a singular burnt match.
Oh.
They are having a bit of a laugh, but they're just trying to be like, come on,
get it moving.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking they might have had like a little ripped off
corner.
I'll be like, oh no.
No, don't do it. The police have very little to go on. What they do have is they take the letters that have appeared, which have been written by a typewriter to the forensics lab. They also the letters were typewritten, yeah. Typed, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. But the actual envelope had handwriting.
Oh, okay.
So they take it to the lab and the police forensics look at it. So the letters were all written on the same typewriter. So they've all come from the same place. And they also worked out that the envelopes were written by the same person. So there is connection. It's not just random letters popping up and people being funny. Do you think you can tell someone's personality from their handwriting, Joel?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Well, police forensics don't think that's the case.
Oh.
They actually, the guy who talks about this case and worked on this case was like, I don't think handwriting analysis. He's like, you can analyze if it came from the same person, but you can't tell someone's personality from their handwriting.
But you can. I feel like probably back then or something like that, you could almost kind of gather which gender it might have been coming from.
Yeah, I think so.
The way in which, yeah, you can absolutely tell someone's. I write in all capital letters. What does that say?
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I got it from my dad. My dad writes in all capital letters.
It's interesting because like when we look at like big cases like the Zodiac killer, the handwritten has been overanalyzed so many times that they think they can like tell who it is, but maybe, you know, we can't tell as much as we think, but we could probably tell if are they male or female, but I don't think you could tell like the inner workings of someone maybe.
No, I guess you're right.
But anyway, the police don't believe, but it doesn't stop the press from getting someone to analyze these envelopes and make a salacious article around this because they've got nothing to go off, but the press want to talk about it. So the article around this time, around the handwriting says, the thief is perhaps artistic, possibly homosexual. He is also moody and suffers from depression.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about like any.
They're talking about me.
They're talking about any artist in Melbourne currently.
I'm offended.
I like the possibly homosexual. Press are having a real field day. By the looks of things, the ACT, Australian Cultural Terrorists, they're having a field day too.
Yeah.
But we still have to try and find this $2 million painting. So who stole it? Rumours start to swirl. Is it maybe an inside job? There was a rumour that it was hanging over Nick Cave's piano in St Kilda.
Ooh.
I know, that would be such a gag.
Yeah.
I would be like, yes. So police start to look at all of the artists within Melbourne. This is clearly coming from someone, you know, within the art scene or someone who cares about the art scene. So they start to search different artist studios, looking for the paintings, but nothing was found except for like pretty much pot and stuff like that, drugs.
Classic artists.
Classic artists, classic depressed homosexual artists. Time there was a real divide between the local art scene and the NGV or the old guard of the art world.
Yeah.
So this really started to put like a real even bigger divide between the two.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
So since the painting had been stolen, local artists had started to whip up copies of the Weeping Woman and would start to plant them in different areas to confuse police. So now other artists...
It's a bit of fun.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So they start to plant them to confuse the cops because essentially all of the local artists are like, yeah, we agree.
That's what I was about to say. They would agree with what the ACT are saying. So why would they
help
catch them?
Yeah.
Would you keep your lips zipped?
Yeah,
or, yeah,
100%.
I think I would as well.
I don't think I would. I think if someone was going to get hurt or something, I think if it was bigger, like hypothetically, I think if it was like if there was more at stake, but this just seems like...
I think I'd just be like, I don't know nothing.
Yeah, don't talk to me about... my lips are sealed. Snitches get stitches and I'm no snitch. Apparently then as well, there was a show put on and I think it might have been in Adelaide, which wouldn't make sense. It wasn't in Melbourne. But 19 artists created 19 versions of the Weeping Woman and put on a whole show. And in the middle of the show was like burnt ashes.
Cool.
So like they kind of created this whole thing like, is one of these the Weeping Woman or is she in the middle? Police actually ended up going to the show to make sure that none of the 19 pieces of art were the real one.
All the artists must have been having such a laugh.
They would all have been cackling around having like a wine being
it could be beef.
It could be beef. It was clear that the artist community was happy to stand in solidarity with the ACT. So here's a bit of a strange twist to the story. So there was another famous artist by the name of Juan de Villa who was having a show in Sydney at the time. So in the past, the NGV had refused to hang his work in gallery because it was too pornographic and homoerotic. He was doing quite provocative work and the NGV said, absolutely not, we're not buying your work or showing it here. This show that was put on would unveil a copy, an exact replica of the Weeping Woman. Now, the reason why this is weird is because if events around this show are true, originally it was reported that the show opened on Wednesday. So the painting was stolen on Monday the 4th. This show opens on Wednesday the 6th. That is enough time to create a replica and hang it in this gallery, right?
Yeah. Really put your pedal to the metal.
Pedal to the metal and you said, this is an opportunity I've got to grab. I'm going to take it. However, the show opened, the original invitation says, has the show opening on Monday the 4th, which is the same day that the public found out that the painting was missing.
Okay.
So the 4:30 p.m. the painting is announced missing, 6:30 p.m. the show begins. If the painting was taken on Saturday night, it does have enough time for it to get to Sydney by Monday.
Yep.
And on all accounts, the painting for the show arrived in the area on the Monday. So it or, close to the show opening. So there is enough time for it to make its way up to Sydney. I don't know, but if the show opened on Wednesday, it could definitely have been a fake.
Yeah.
If the show opens on the Monday, it means he probably knew about what was going on and created a fake earlier, or it's the real Weeping Woman.
Yeah, because that's not enough of a time gap to recreate
a whole artwork if you found it. Like, because it's 4:30 to 6:30, no time.
No.
And he puts it on display and he calls it the fake Picasso. Then a few days later at the fake Picasso show, that painting is stolen with a note behind saying, "We have stolen the Picasso from the Avago Gallery." It's the Avago Gallery in Sydney. "We make no demands, but we wish to be acknowledged as artists. We ask the question, where does art end? Theft for art's sake, signed the ACT." Whether this was, I think this was just a setup, whether he set it up. Copycat. I think that the heist of this second Weeping Woman was set up probably by one, and he orchestrated that heist.
Okay.
Whether he was part of the first real heist,
yeah.
unsure, but I think he made a spectacle by having his, since this stunt, and this is all we really know about this, he's never commented this.
He never got interrogated by the police?
I'm sure he got questioned, but to the public, he's never made a statement. Right. So,
if he didn't do it, he definitely knew
who did,
or there was plans
to
do it, because that turnaround
is too quick.
Doesn't make sense.
Too quick. So police start to think that maybe this job was coming. The call was coming from inside the house. So they start to think it's an inside job because the thief had to know how to get it off the wall with these little bolts, how to get it out of the frame without damaging it, how to get it out of the building, and also how to put the placard on the wall so it would look like everything else.
Somebody worked in the gift shop. Been watching everything.
Watching. Beady eyes. Sylvia, why do you keep looking at the security guards?
Stop looking at the Picasso for 1 second. Sell some books.
If we go off what some people started to speculate, there is another theory. The theory is that at an art event in Melbourne, a plan starts to unfold, and at this art opening, there's at least 2 gallery employees giving these people insider knowledge. There's someone from the media to be able to orchestrate what goes on around the media and the hubbub. 2 weeks later, so this is what the story should be. Like, they think the story is 2 weeks after this gallery opening conspiracy, one of the gallery employees waits in the bathroom until close at around 10 p.m, comes out, heads to the European gallery, takes the Picasso off the wall, gets it out of the frame in less than 5 minutes. They think it took no time at all.
Yeah. Takes
the painting out the door while his conspirators write letters, and send them to the media. This theory is that it wasn't done for personal gain, but to get funding for the NGV and help the arts centre. If we look at it like this and go, all right, maybe it was an inside job, their main goal is to get funding to the NGV because people will want to protect the art that's remaining in this NGV and get funding for the arts as well.
Yeah. That's
one theory. I don't like it as much as you.
It's not as fun
as
the guy who put on his own
exhibition.
But if they're saying that this person was in and out 5 minutes, getting it off the wall, like that would be a kind of intricate way that they put things on the wall at the NGV.
And there's special bolts. So these special bolts that are attached to the wall for the painting, they're not just like a Phillips head kind of screw.
No,
it's like
specific.
Got 2 little prongs and you've got to like twist it.
Yeah, right.
So you'd have to know that you'd need a specific kind of opener. Like it
also could have been a person who's visited the gallery a
million times and looked at
scoped it out, being like, okay, I need
that bolt.
I need to go to Bunnings, get that.
Get my extent. I've got to chuck the frame up in that alcove. Maybe it was an inside job. There are also rumors that maybe the NGV director orchestrated it as well because it would bring more press and prestige to the gallery because he's just spent $2 million on a painting.
His name again?
Patrick McKay.
McKay. Right. I think that's
pushing it,
especially because something like this hasn't really happened here. You'd figure that your plans might not go to plan because no one really knows how to deal with things like this in Australia.
It's kind of like, there's other ways to get more.
I just feel like we're too lazy to do all this stuff.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely
a little bit too hard basket.
Yeah, I don't think we'd think about this as a marketing tool.
No.
We're not there
yet.
We're
not that cunning.
No. We're just in other ways. We're more casual cunning.
Yeah.
17 days after the painting goes missing, a phone call comes into The Age, an Australian paper. So on the night of the budget, so back in the day, you used to sit down and you'd watch the budget get announced.
Oh, people still do it now.
I know, but we're less.
Probably not as many.
But it used to be a bit of Australian cultural terrorists contact the paper, so it almost becomes more of a story than the budget. And they say that the painting is going to be returned and you'll find it in locker 227 at Spencer Street Station.
Wait, so you said they called?
They called up and said, we've got the painting. Well, you'll find the painting in locker 227 at Spencer.
Oh.
I don't think so. They probably use some kind of crackling or voice distorter.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Sydney.
Yeah,
we can't do it.
Hello, Sydney.
Hello, Sydney. Hello, Sydney. I like how we both tried and we went, wait, you can't do it.
We bailed out halfway through. Yeah.
It looks like that maybe the ACT made numerous phone calls or the police called, but essentially The Age, Patrick McKay and the police are all kind of come down to the Spencer Street Station. Mm-hmm. So I don't know who called who or if they called and orchestrated it all, but they're all waiting out front of locker 227. So they open up the locker and there is a parcel inside. It's wrapped in brown paper and tied up with a string. Could this be one of the Picasso?
Brown paper packages
tied up with string. These are a few of my favorite things. Exactly that. And I'm sure before they opened it, they sung that song in celebration.
Julie Andrews.
I stole it.
It's in here.
They open up the parcel. They slowly take it out of the locker because they're like, maybe it's a bomb, maybe it's a booby trap. You okay?
I've got eyelash in my eye. Continue. All good.
They're not quite sure. They take the parcel down to the forensics lab. They open it up and there staring back at them is the weeping woman.
Oh.
There she is. And there's not a scratch on her. By all accounts, she's been looked after rather well.
Okay. I would find it hard to believe that like an artist would destroy a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it becomes more and more like this is an artist or someone who cares a lot about the arts.
Picasso didn't do this to anyone.
He did other things.
But
not
I keep forgetting
this.
how bad all these people are.
Yeah. Do we blame it on the time or do we just blame it on people being
blame it
on the edit? Was there evidence left behind? Apparently there is a singular hair located with the parcel, but there's also a small little folded piece of paper with a final letter in it.
Was the hair placed there on purpose?
I don't know. It seems odd that they've gone to all of this to let a singular hair.
But the hair could have been in there from before.
Who knows? And you know what? I hate to break it to you. We never find out.
Okay, cool.
Third letter says, of course, we never looked to have our demands met. Our intention was always to bring public attention to the plight of a group which lacks any of the legitimate means of blackmailing governments. Signed sincerely, the Australian cultural terrorists. So they're very just like, we never meant to get rid of this painting.
We wanted to bring awareness. We wanted to tell the public that they need to be funding more into the art community, local art.
Yeah, this is a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
Just done for a different reason than to bring notoriety to a painting.
Like that. No one got hurt. They just wanted it out there.
They just wanted people to know that this was happening.
Yep.
Another theory is that it was returned, but after creating a perfect forgery. So either they returned a fake painting or they returned the real one, but creating a bit of a cloud of doubt.
Aha.
This could mean that they could sell one on the black market and say, this is the real one, without people, it either being the real one and selling the real one on the black market, or it being a fake one, but people think it's.
They don't seem like that type.
Nah, I think it's too much rigmarole.
Yeah.
But the NGV conservator, the planetarium at the time said he would bet his career that the real painting was returned.
Yeah.
However, interestingly, apparently 10% of paintings in galleries in Australia are fake.
Oh.
Of the big, apparently.
Yeah. Well, we've covered that a lot of the art that goes around like could potentially be
fake. So apparently, just a loose statistic. Real fakes. 10% are real fakes. The NGV is happy. They've got their painting back, but the question still remains for the police: who stole the painting?
Let it go. It's back now.
It's back now. Who cares? It seems like Patrick McKay this whole time was pretty sure they'd get the painting back. He writes a book many, many years later. And within this book, he says that apparently he got a tip. He apparently got a tip at the time to go and visit an artist named Tom and talk to Tom.
He a depressed homosexual?
He might be. Go and have a conversation with him. And apparently during this convo, Patrick had said, you know what, the painting could be dropped at an airport. It could be dropped at a station. No harm done. We'll get the painting back and it's all good.
At a station.
Interesting. So in the book, he's also said that so he names the painter in the book, and the name is Mark Howson. Mark was part of a collective called Raw, which is a collective of artists that were from Fitzroy and Brunswick, so they were bohemians.
I was literally going to say, like, from the get, like, this really feels like a north side kind of vibe.
Yeah. So they were a group of bohemian artists who were kind of pushing the old guard. They acted like they were probably a little bit poorer than they were, probably a bit more middle class, but they were like, we're going to push against the old guard of the art world.
Yeah.
Like, fight society, do some beat poetry, get it done.
Yeah.
So this, Mark has always said, like, this is a rumor. He's just trying to pin someone on it, me. Like, this wasn't me, but everyone's like, maybe. But he's just like, I didn't do it, guys. Like, why is he naming me so many years after this?
Yeah.
Mark still denies any involvement in the crime. Of all of these theories, in your mind, what do you think maybe happened?
Mine is kind of separate to all those. I'm leaning more towards could have potentially been students, radical students. They specifically mentioned funding for under 30-year-old artists. So that could be like them wanting to get their art out there. And yeah, I have a feeling, and there was such like direct access to the VCA.
Yeah.
I'm imagining like a group of like radical like art students.
I think that would make sense because it's like they don't want anything bad to happen.
No, but this is their like little like movement. It's their rebellion.
Like, fuck the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, they noted that they wanted art competitions for under 30s.
Yeah.
These might have not been as prevalent back then as what they would be now.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning more towards students.
Yeah. I think so.
Or anyone under 30.
Anyone under 30.
Really narrows it.
Sit down. Years later, a journalist receives a letter that talks about someone acting alone, going by the name of Hereward Hogshead, who was a disheartened artist who had a Slytherin, who has a vendetta against Race Matthews. At closing time, Hereward hid in the gallery, and over the weeks leading up to it had planted little bits of equipment to help with the heist. And then once everyone leaves, goes around, collects all these little bits and pieces, takes the painting off the wall, puts it in a case, waits until the gallery reopens, and then walks out the front door looking very important with this masterpiece hidden in the case. Pretty much after that, the case just runs cold. We do not know who the Australian cultural terrorists are, and we have never had anyone brought to justice for this case.
And to be honest, I don't think many people would be working on this case anymore because they got the painting back.
Yep.
The people who were sending the ransom notes only wanted recognition for the arts to get funding and for young artists to help them along their way with funding as well. Mm-hmm. Everyone kind of got what they wanted at the end. They just caused a little bit of disruption.
Yeah.
And because this was the first time that this kind of thing has happened in Australia, I feel like, yes, they would have had, people trying to figure it out afterwards and this, but I just honestly reckon it would have ended up fizzling out.
Yeah. And I think that
once they figured out it'd be too hard basket.
Yeah.
And then they go back to figuring out who murdered someone.
The dingo.
The dingo.
They go back to the dingo.
Yeah. Where's that bloody dingo?
Dingo. What's it done with the baby? Also, the cops didn't know what to do. So,
because this doesn't happen here, it happens in Europe and stuff. So
it only happens in Europe and America. Yeah, and we didn't have like a task force set up to kind of handle a situation like this. So if it just kind of goes away, then it's fine. I'm sure
the cops didn't even do anything.
They were like looking behind paintings.
And then they kind of didn't know what else to do, and then the painting showed up.
Yeah, they didn't find the painting. The painting
so hopefully the
found
cops
them.
didn't get like a ticker tape parade being like, oh you did it.
So,
because they didn't actually do anything.
Yeah, exactly. The heist might have been just some glorious piece of, performance art. And it actually got more funding and more contemporary art into the NGV.
Yeah.
So the thieves got some of what they were after.
Yes.
The Weeping Woman still hangs in the NGV to this day. You can go and see her.
Go see her.
Go and see her.
She's still crying.
She's still sad.
Oh, gosh.
I used to float. The NGV is about to get a whole revamp. They're looking at expanding. They've got plans in the works.
Yeah.
And just goes to show there is funding in the arts again. Not all of it, but some of it.
And there's contemporary pieces in there. And they hold a lot of like exhibitions from artists around the world. So yeah, this has been super interesting, but like only good came of it.
Only good.
So it was good.
We can only hope that only good came of it. So yeah, that's the story of the NGV heist.
Oh, we're at home. We're in Melbourne. It's all happening under our
Trams
noses.
are rolling past.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding.
And only a couple of years later, Joel and Steph were born.
and that's when the world really got good. That's when Melbourne really kicked off. Yes. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
You know where to find us. Watch us on YouTube. Watch us on TikTok and Instagram as well.
Yes.
We clip it.
And Spotify.
And Spotify and Apple Music.
Maybe if you're near us right now, you can probably, because we talk loud, you can probably just put your ear out.
Blast to the wall.
Yeah.
I hear them.
Yeah.
Unedited, we probably sound crazy. As always, tell one friend.
One friend.
Just one.
Just one.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We did it.
We did it.
Baby, we made it. We made it.